It's close to 8 o'clock. We are starting with item F. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, a quasi-public hearing, and this will be the second reading of ordinance 2022-703, an ordinance of the City of Williston, Florida, amending the zoning map of the City of Williston Comprehensive Plan pursuant to an application by Covington FPC LLC for 47.9 plus or minus acres identified as numerous parcels attached as Exhibit A on the official record of the Levy County Property Appraiser under the amendment procedures established in Chapter 163 Florida statutes, changing the zoning and future land use classification from residential to mixed use on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Williston, Florida. Described herein, providing severability, providing for incorporation of city maps, and providing an effective date. At this time, if there is, we will ask the council members if anybody has had any ex parte communication with anyone regarding this case. I know we've all driven by it, so we pretty much know where it is. And I don't know if anybody else has any ex parte communication that they'd like to express at this time.
I have not.
Hearing none, I will ask anyone who plans to speak to this issue to please raise your right hand. Yes, you may stand and raise your right hand, and Miss Latricia will swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you so much. The city clerk will be the one who takes custody of any exhibits, any diagrams, photographs, anything that you present tonight to this body. She will need a copy of it, and she will keep it for at least 30 days in case of appeal. At this time, we will ask the staff to make an opening statement.
Thank you.
Ms. Jones.
We saw this a few months ago, and I'm bringing it back to you. We're going to call it Berkeley Oaks, but you originally knew it as Covington.
Mm-hmm.
So the proposed Berkeley Oaks subdivision is a rezoning application for approximately 50 acres of residential property off of Southwest 7th, just west of Williston Middle High School. The proposed project will result in residential subdivision with 248 dwelling units, 148 of which will be single-family units, and 100 will be multi-family units. The density for the proposed project will be 5.18 dwelling units per acre. The ingress and the egress is on Northeast 30th Street and Southwest 7th, so there'll be two. The rezoning request is required for 4 reasons. The current zoning does not allow for mixed single and multi-family residences. The desired density is greater than what's allowed in the R1 zoning category. The proposed number of units are more than the established plat. This would be replatted. And the site standards need to be modified from the city standards as well as from the established plat. The application has multiple pages on it. If you have any questions, please let me know. But staff is in favor of changing the zoning from residential single family to a planned development.
Okay. Would you like to call any witnesses at this time? Staff?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. So we will ask the applicant if they have a statement they would like to make. If so, please state your name for the record, and we would love to hear what you have to say.
Good evening, Chris Spots, Director of Engineering for JV Pro. We do not have any additional documentation or presentation for this present tonight, but we are here to answer any questions from the council.
Thank you, sir. You have no witnesses at this time or cross-examine anybody. Thank you. Testimony and presentation and evidence to the public with alternating speakers, which we have none at this time. I would ask the applicant if you have any closing statement, or you're good. I would ask the staff if they have any final comments to make.
I do. We just have a couple changes from the original application, both in favor for the city. The one is that they're going to add some sidewalks that weren't on the original plan development. And also, we talked about this noise survey for the airport, and they're gonna go ahead and move forward with that. We did talk about the FAA doing a review, and the FAA will not review this until the site plans are finished. So that won't be able to be done before zoning change.
Okay. And do we have it incorporated in writing that they're going to go forward?
When you approve this, you're approving the application and everything that goes with it. So you're not just approving a zoning change, you're approving
I
all
realize
the
that.
stipulations,
That
so
wasn't
it's in
the
there.
question. I mean, does it say in here though that they will
For the-
proceed with the study? I don't know that I saw that in here anywhere.
With the FFA study?
No, with the airspace
Right.
study, what's it called now?
Noise.
Noise study, thank you.
I believe, Madam President, if you look on page 73, there's some verbiage in there in reference to this.
73 of the packet.
Yes, ma'am.
And it has the number 73 at the bottom. Okay, I'm getting there, sorry.
Under A. .2 airport.
Terrific. And let me just say too, that the application and all the documents that you submitted, probably one of the best presentations I've ever read.
Thank you.
And I've read a lot of them. I mean, I sat on a regional planning council before. And it gave me the maps I needed. Everything I wanted to look at was there, I found it. You eased my mind on a lot of things when I read your presentation. I just, you did a great job.
Thank you.
I'm still looking for you.
For the record, so for the noise study, we're gonna work with the FAA and the city to evaluate the necessity as well as the criteria for the study. So we're gonna, once we get into the site plan stage, we'll coordinate with FAA and go through that process. And then if they determine as well as the city still wants a study, then we'll proceed in that form and fashion.
With whatever the recommendations are,
Correct.
okay?
Well, the city may still require the noise study regardless of the determination, just so you're aware of that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. That's understandable.
Okay, are there any other statements that either side would like to make at this time? If not, we'll have to,
One more
sorry.
part.
Oh, Ms. Mischief?
Madam President, Commission, my name is John Curtis. I'm the current property owner, and I came before y'all several years ago. And at the time, unfortunately, it wasn't financially viable to make this project what it is, what I ultimately wanted to see. I have known the current person who's buying this property for most of my life. I've been approached by numerous people who have wanted to develop the property and buy it, but I wanted to wait to find the right person to bring the right project to this community. And I think we have them. So I hope that tonight we can move forward with the zoning. I know that I've spoken with the city manager, and I'll be speaking with the city manager again about trying to continue to work with the current buyer and the engineer in the city to make sure that this project ultimately meets everyone's expectations.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Curtis. All right, now it's time for discussion with the city council. Do you have any questions for any of either the staff or the applicant?
I was just concerned about the noise, the FAA study, basically, is what I'm concerned about.
And I had also heard from Mr. Stiegel that it could not be done until it was finalized, the zoning was finalized. Okay, so we are entertaining the second reading of ordinance 2022-703. Entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion to move forward with ordinance 2022-703.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion from anyone in the room? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing what you do.
Look forward to working with you.
All right, well now, we also have the first reading of ordinance 2022. We'll close that quasi-judicial hearing, by the way. And we will do the first reading of ordinance 2022-704, an ordinance to be known as the City of Williston's Water and Sewer System Capacity Fee Ordinance, providing definitions, rules of construction, providing findings, providing for imposition of water and sewer capacity fees, providing for payment and use of monies, providing for exemptions, providing for collection of capacity fees upon changes in size and use, providing for developer contribution credit, providing for payment and collection of water and sewer system capacity fees, providing for review hearings, requiring periodic review, declaring exclusion from Administrative Procedure Act, and providing for public hearing, providing for conflict and severability, providing for an effective date. Mr. Rivard and Mr. Barber.
I'm going to defer to Mr. Barber this time.
Good evening, council. So I know that I was watching last month when this came up. I almost got kicked out of Shands Hospital.
Were you jumping up and down or screaming?
I'll let you know at the end of this. So I did want to read something because one of the things that I heard quite a bit was the debate and kind of joking back and forth of, you know, is it really an impact fee and we're just renaming it and rebranding it? So I want to be very clear, this is not an impact fee. If it was an impact fee, this would be revolving around police, fire, this would be revolving around parks. Impacts are fees that are associated with new incoming people and the impact that they have on those facilities. A capacity fee is something different. And the reason why we went this route is because it's the most important and critical infrastructure that we have is our water and our wastewater. We're state mandated at certain points as we grow that we have to build capacity in. So when you get to about 70%, some say it's 80, some say it's 70, but really, truly, if you talk to Wright Pierce when they're here for engineering, if you start at 80, you're never going to make it in time. So at 70%, you have to redesign the wastewater plant and the water system, including wells, to anticipate growth. And the growth is coming. I know there's a lot of people who have mixed feelings on growth. You know, being pro and being against, but it's coming. 1,000 people a week in the state of Florida, and they're running out of room in Ocala and Gainesville, and they're going to inevitably find their way here. So these capacity fees are a means of preventing those who are vested, who live here, who have paid their fair share, from being taken advantage of by developers. And Mrs. Van Zant, who was here presenting this, her husband was a former state legislator. He was in leadership in the Florida House. He became a Florida senator. That family was, then she ran for his office after he term limited out, and her platform was against impact fees in the state legislature. And after working with Florida Rural Water and local communities such as ours, she emphatically changed her position, and now she's an advocate for the very thing that she once opposed and ran for office to oppose. And it really comes down to science. It comes down to math and science, and that is, you have every system which is different. I'll give you an example. Newberry has impact fees and capacity fees, but you have to look at the city of Newberry and understand that they may have 1,000 residents within 12 square miles, and that they have to have so much pipe and so much footage and volume for those 1,000 residents. But because they're maybe stacked up tall, or maybe because they're densely populated, the system that they have does not have to be very large. We have a very spread out town, including what we service out in East Williston and all the way out to the airport. So how they figured this equation out is basically on the space that you have and the cost of replacing that infrastructure. And that infrastructure is not only supposed to be maintained, but it's almost supposed to be completely replaced in a 20 to 30 year span of time. If you look at the northwest section here of town, it was put in the sewer in the 1940s. We're beyond the 20, 30 year period of time. So one of the things I didn't hear last time that I wanted to bring forward to you, and I wish I had the handout, but our printers wouldn't cooperate this evening, is that if you have Wright Pierce come in and do a presentation on the master plan that we've paid for, and that's being published, they estimated the cost of our sewer replacement system at around $22 million. They expect that in 5, 10, 15, and 20-year increments to be replaced. That's outside of normal budgeting. That's outside of our normal repair and maintenance that our finance director would say, hey, this is the money we have set aside for these things. The water system is around 18 to 20 million. So you're looking roughly at $42 million in the next 20 years that it is recommended by SWIFMUD, it is recommended by DEP, and it is recommended by, basically the standard bearers of wastewater and water industries, that you really should be thinking about replacing that system in all the neighborhoods throughout the city. Capacity fees with new development are a way of getting there, because they allow the developer, who's going to make all the profit, to understand that they have to not only increase the capacity of the wells and the wastewater plant, but also to upgrade those systems so that it's not a burden on the system that we currently have. Y'all have approved recently on top of the hill, the well to be done there. We now have a motor issue. You've talked about and passed the barn well. We've made repairs. Those are going to be starting in January. Between the two projects, we're going to have roughly $225,000 just between the two wells. That isn't typically budgeted because it's not something that happens every year. So let's talk about the 248 homes. Let's talk about the 98 homes that we had in Country Lane Estates. Let's talk about the possibly the townhomes that are talked about, and other developments that you guys can talk to the city planner about. But we estimate in the next 5 years we could roughly have around 500 homes residences added into the city. So I just did a quick calculation of the two fees. That's roughly $3.6 million. It doesn't get us to $42 million, but it is a big chunk of it. So I just wanted to clarify that these capacity fees are not the impact that they have on the community. It's the real cost of replacing this infrastructure that the new residents put a burden on. And at this time, there was a great presentation by Mrs. Van Zant. If you have questions, I'd love to answer them. If you had concerns, one of the first things we did when we drafted this is we talked about those that were already here being protected. So I want to clarify, I think that if you look on page, let me find my note, page 121 of the packet, and it's found in two places. This is just the water system capacity development. And you look at letter C. Whenever a person alters an existing building, structure, or applicable improvement already connected to the water system, where such alteration increases the potential demand on the water system. So we exempted current residents, and there was a lot of discussion about what this meant. It says the actual alteration to increase the demand. What that means is the pipe size. So you guys heard a lot of people talking about square footage, which was an inaccurate representation of that. This isn't if you build an addition and you add a bathroom. This is if the city has to go out, and because you've gotten so much larger that we have to take your 4-inch tap into the main and bring it up to a 6-inch. Or you have a 6-inch tap into the main, which is what we currently do typically, and you go to an 8-inch. So the only time that would be applicable is if your meter size changed and the tap of the, you have a 3/4 line in your house, which most of you do, and all of a sudden you need to do a 2-inch commercial line into your house. That would be an assessment of this fee, because you're changing the actual infrastructure. It doesn't matter if you add 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. If your 3/4 line is still sufficient pressure, if your sewer tap, your 4-inch sewer tap is still sufficient drainage, it would not alter it whatsoever. So we exempted in this, as we drafted it, those who were already here to protect the residents who already had a vestiture in the community. And so I wanted to point that out because I heard that last time and a lot of talk about what that meant.
That
So
makes a lot of difference.
Yes.
it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, and thank you for that.
So anyways, at this time, if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Questions?
Clears it up for me.
Yeah, really. That was our main concern right there.
That was mine.
We just didn't see it or understand what it said, I guess is what it amounts to. Any further questions for Mr. Barber? I heard a push. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Miss Ballou.
You will see if you scroll to section, and this is all based on what Donald has just said. And Donald, we appreciate you being here when I know that you would probably much prefer to be with your little baby and your family. But he is the expert, and I appreciate his input.
Yeah.
Based on his input, section 4.02, I added in, if you will take a look. Sorry.
I gotta get there. That's a long way from where we were.
Yeah, I keep going back.
We're in one.
127.
127.
Yeah, that's about 6 pages, 7 pages. Let's get there.
Right. The changes that I made were based on the council's request that I come up with a formula in order to account for additional bathrooms and that sort of thing. Based on what Mr. Barber had just said, I think that we can come up with something that's a lot more in that vein than in this current vein.
Or even go back to what we had before.
Cross this out.
Yeah.
So I think that your initial concern was that we haven't adequately defined what is additional demand. If additional demand is an increase in pipe size, that's about a one-liner that I can go ahead and add in there instead of these, I would say, 4 beautiful additional paragraphs.
They are.
Thank you for your additional 4 beautiful paragraphs.
You can save them for something.
We can save them for something else. They'll be useful some other time, I'm sure. But based on what Ms. Roper has just said, I don't think that any of them are necessary for this.
I agree, and so this is first reading. If we can amend that for our next reading, that would be perfect.
Can do.
That would be great. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, seeing that's the case, I would entertain a motion for ordinance 2022-704 on first reading.
Yeah, 704.
I think so.
Keep turning the page.
Yeah,
I make a
G.
motion that we approve ordinance 2022-704
On first reading.
for the first reading.
704 is what it says on my agenda.
First reading.
Yep.
First reading. I make a motion that we approve the first reading of ordinance 2022-704.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and I have a second. Do I have any further discussion from anyone? Mr. Witt.
Is there a cost figure you could give me for a new home that's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, or something like that? What the capacity would be now?
$6,500.
There you go.
That's
$6,500.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Barber. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. H is also quasi judicial. This is first reading of ordinance 2022-705, an ordinance to provide for the annexation of certain properties in the city of Williston, providing a description of the annexed property, providing that the annexed area be subjected to all laws and regulations and entitled to all benefits and privileges, providing for an effective date. This again, I don't know what the area is, so I can't ask if there's been any if there's been any ex parte communication. Can you tell me the location, Ms. Jones?
Do you know where the old funeral home is? Right at the edge of the city limits?
Okay, yes, I do.
So it's the
O.B.
property.
Samuel's Funeral Home.
It's 2
Southeast,
properties.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's two properties north of that, right before 27. So this is on 27.
Okay.
It is Mr. Ross's.
All right, so I would ask if anybody has had any ex parte communication regarding this issue.
Is that on the curve out there going out of Williston?
Just before you get to the curb. Yes, sir.
Mr. Ross's property.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And it's that small piece, right, not the large piece.
Yeah,
I'll explain it, yeah.
we'll get there. How about no ex parte communication? I see none. Nobody's communicated with the property owners or anything of that nature. Okay, at this time, if you plan to speak to this issue, please stand and raise your right hand so you can be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, any exhibits, drawings, diagrams, photographs, anything that we speak of today that is not already in the possession of the city should be given to the city clerk. Will be maintained for at least 30 days. I will ask the staff for an opening statement on this issue.
Thank you. So this is a VA 2022-01. It's a voluntary annexation. We got an application from Reggie Ross LLC, the property owner, for annexation into the city limits. So it's a little bit confusing because I put this entirely huge legal on here, but I wanted to have that for the record. This is a portion of Levy County parcel number 05039000000. So that's what that big 60 acres is over there, or perhaps it's even more. The property owner has had that sectioned off to line up with the city limits. If you look at just the western part of where, do you see the blue star? Just underneath that is all inside the city limits. So this is gonna be lining up exactly with our city limits right now.
And we're talking about the portion that is the closest to 27 along this, the top north section.
Yes, if I could,
Not that it's really north, but on the map it's north.
I do have a survey included in the paperwork, and you'll see that it's called New Parcel A now, and
Okay.
it's 0.572 acres.
And you have any idea what page that might be?
On yours, I don't.
I'm looking. I'm getting there.
Our page numbers didn't print out on our packet. There you go.
Okay, 147. I
Mhm.
think Mr.
So if you look below that, parcel 05040000000, that is in the city limits. And so are the parcels underneath it. So those are our city limit lines. This little guy was part of the Big Ross property. And,
Okay, I'm still confused.
okay.
What's part of the city limits already? I
The,
see 10th Street, so just tell me where.
the parcels underneath the yellow parcel.
So the two parcels underneath are already in the city limits?
Yes, ma'am.
But somehow that one got left out.
It got left, it actually was in at one point, and then you guys took it out for some reason, and then it came, and now they like it to come back in. Because they're selling it off to the property owner who owns the parcels underneath it. And he's gonna do a development on all of them.
And who would that be?
Don't know.
Is there
The
some
petitioner
kind
is the Rosses.
Is there some kind of structure gonna be on it? No towers or none of that?
There's gonna be a commercial building on it.
What kind of commercial building?
It's probably gonna be like a small office building. Those are the plans I have right now.
And about how many acres would that?
So it's gonna be a total of about 2 acres because they're gonna merge it with their other parcels. But they wanted the frontage, since they purchased these other parcels, they thought it was silly to have no 27 frontage, because you know that's best for commercial property.
Interesting.
So they asked this part to be parceled off, and they're asking for this, just this little half an acre to be annexed in. They don't want to, well, first of all, they want to merge, so it would be pretty tough for them to merge a city property with a county property. They couldn't do that. But they would like to do a small development in this area, commercial.
What is the current zoning?
The zoning right now is commercial.
You think they'll leave it that?
Yes.
Okay, they're not planning on industrial or anything?
Oh, no, it went back and forth between them putting in some residences, and then now they've decided that the property is best for commercial.
Who provides?
Now, I can't,
Who provides utilities?
we do, yeah. So I can't say that this is exactly what they're gonna do, obviously, they're not here.
Yeah.
And I can't be their agent,
And we really can't, we're really not supposed to care.
yeah,
Right.
but,
We either do it or we don't, it really is not supposed to
right.
care.
So as far
Not
as I know, it's
contingent upon
gonna
it.
be a little office building.
Right, I was just curious, but I know it's not contingent upon it.
But I wanted to clear up the fact that it's not that whole parcel. They have already done the survey, and this is already a legal document.
Right. Okay, that would be your opening statement. Do you have any witnesses that you would like to call? Okay, and the applicant is not here, so they have no opening statement. Anybody want to speak on their behalf? I'll ask that. This is a quasi-judicial public hearing. So no witnesses. Any other public testimony that anybody might want to give? So I will ask, there's no applicant to give a closing statement, so I'll ask the staff to give a closing statement.
So the staff recommends approval because this complies with our land development code, and it cleans up our city limits line.
Okay? Discussion amongst the city council.
I just have one question. Do we know why we took it out in the past? There's no written evidence or anything of this?
I don't remember ever taking anything out. I remember taking things in, but not out. Maybe it was thought to be in and wasn't?
It was part of one parcel, and Mr. Ross, it was in, I don't know if it was ever legally in.
They said because they wanted cows.
It's been,
Where you want it.
yeah, it's been agricultural, and it just didn't really go with being in the city and paying taxes on the
Did
ag.
they ask that it be withdrawn from annexation?
I don't know what happened.
I mean, the city didn't throw them out. I mean,
Oh, no, nobody threw him out. He asked, he was in and
we
then he
wouldn't
was out.
de-annex,
No,
annex
ma'am.
them, so
It
did
was
they
all
ask to be?
voluntary.
Okay,
It
so
was
they
all
must have
voluntary.
asked to be out of the city limits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, again, we are considering first reading ordinance 2022-705, which is a voluntary annexation of the property in question.
I move that we approve first reading ordinance 2022-705.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion from anyone? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will close that quasi-judicial hearing and open another quasi-judicial hearing. I know they take a long time. This is first reading of ordinance 2022-706, an ordinance of the City of Williston, Florida, amending the zoning map of the City of Williston Comprehensive Plan pursuant to the application by Cecil Tanner for 3.2 plus or minus acres, identified as parcel 05099-001-00 on the official records of the Levy County Property Appraiser. Records of the property appraiser. Under the amendment procedures established in Chapter 163, Florida statutes, changing the zoning and the future land use classification from agriculture to residential duplex on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Williston, Florida. Described herein, providing severability, providing for incorporation in the city maps, and providing for an effective date. Again, this is I'm not really sure, again, where this is. Ms. Jones is probably going to have to tell us the location.
Just north of,
Huh?
on Main Street, just north of where you're going, Line Street, or R Street.
Okay, oh, Tanner. Yeah. Okay. So this is the Tanner property. So it's on 755 South Main Street. I want to ask if anybody has had any ex parte communication regarding, with the applicant or regarding anything else about this particular application.
Drive in and out. Yeah.
You see it as we drive by. I didn't know there was action. So seeing none, I will again ask anyone who plans to speak to this to please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, the clerk will take custody of any exhibits. All exhibits, diagrams, photographs, or any similar evidence will be given to her and kept for at least 30 days in case of appeal. I will ask the staff to give an opening statement.
Thank you. This is rezone 2022-06 Tanner property. We've already been to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they've recommended approval of the zoning and land use application to the City Council. This property is located at 755 South Main. EDA Consultants, Inc. is the agent, and he's present, and Cecil Tanner is the property owner. The rezone was initiated by the property owner to change the zoning and land use. It's about 3.2 acres. Now, if you look at my first map, we've got a couple different parcels, but those parcels have been merged. So it's just the one parcel that we're gonna be talking about. Right now, it's zoned agricultural with current and future land use as agricultural. The rezone proposes changing it to residential duplex and the current and future land use to residential. The zoning map shows the 3 parcels, but they've been merged. It's consistent with the surrounding properties for residential. If you look to the east, we've got multi-family zoning, and you look to the west, we've got single-family zoning. It's not being used for agricultural, and it hasn't in quite a while.
Yeah.
So we recommend the rezoning. It complies with our land use development code, and we see no problems with it.
I have a question. There's a cemetery in there. Which parcel is that on? Where that star is? Just
Oh, there's definitely a cemetery in there
there's a
somewhere.
cemetery there, and then there's that one lot that's landlocked. Is that included?
No, ma'am. It's the star is on the 3 parcels that have been merged.
Okay, so it doesn't include the landlocked parcel and the one just on Main Street?
I don't know. I mean, if there's a landlocked parcel, it won't be landlocked after it's developed, and the cemetery appears to be on the northern part of this, so it's not, doesn't have anything to do with these parcels.
Okay, I swear there's a cemetery on that part.
The green one above.
So you're saying the 2 lots at the very top of our map have been merged?
No, ma'am, those are not included in this.
They are not included at all, only the 3 with the star on them?
Yes, ma'am.
And they have been merged into one?
Correct.
Got it.
Am I right, Glenn?
Are there others going to remain agricultural?
It's north, yeah.
Will the other lots to the north and south remain agriculture?
At this time?
Interesting. Okay, and we're not sure where the cemetery is on this map? Anybody know?
North of it.
North of the space or
You know the thin parcel there? It's the one in front of it, on the north side.
Okay, okay, just before the landlocked one.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha.
Does the same owner own all of these lots at the current time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions for staff at this moment, or should we go forward? All right. You have any witnesses to call, Ms. Jones?
No.
Okay, does the applicant wish to make an opening statement? Please state your name for the record.
Good evening, I am Clay Swager. I work with EDA Consultants. I'm a land planner that is working on behalf of the property owner to bring this land use and zoning change application to you tonight. I'd like to make a few brief comments and answer any questions that you might have. Just to clarify, the cemetery parcel is not part of the rezoning. It is the parcel that's just to the north. It's the one that's the green parcel on the northernmost end of that map.
Gotcha.
But we are, we do have 3.2 acres in size, the land area. It's 755 South Main Street. There's 2 older homes that are on the property. it's been residential use for many, many decades. The homes are quite old. So it has not been used for agricultural purposes in quite some time. And those parcels are just kind of unique in that everything that's in green, they're agriculture, but really there's no agriculture activity anywhere in that area and hasn't been on those properties for quite some time. So it's sort of a kind of a hole in the donut or an enclave of ag zoning, probably because the property owners never requested a change, or it was just a carryover from old maps. And so it is a residential use of the land already, and we'd like to rezone it to residential with the potential to upgrade the site, renovate one of the homes potentially, and perhaps subdivide and do a few more units in there. None of that is allowed under agriculture zoning because it's, I think, 1 unit per 5 acres. It seems like a really great place to do that in that there's residential zoning in all directions, residential uses in all directions. There's city utilities available, police, fire, school, within a stone's throw of the site. So we feel like it's consistent with your regulations and the map and the land use zoning map and the land use pattern. And it would provide an opportunity for some additional housing in town. It's a very small property. It would not be anything too large. 2 of the adjacent property owners came to the planning and zoning board meeting, and we spoke to them. And we indicated that the idea is to have platted lots and possibly attached units or detached units, we don't know at this time, but that we would want to plat them and sell them and not have multifamily or rentals. In fact, that zoning that we're requesting of the city would not allow apartments, so it would be a little more consistent with the area. As Ms. Jones indicated, that your staff has recommended approval, and the Planning and Zoning Board heard deciding last week and recommended approval. And I'd appreciate it if you would consider this item, and if there's anything I can answer for you tonight, please let me know.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant?
Answered my question.
Okay, you have any witnesses you want to call? Okay. At this time, we will say closing statement. I think that was your closing statement. Closing statement by staff. Ms. Jones, anything to add?
For President Jones and Vice President Robinson, there's an excellent attachment to their application that shows where that cemetery is. It's page 6 of the application, but I'm not sure what page it is for.
We'll look further. Okay, at this time, we'll ask the City Council if they have any additional questions for either the applicant or the staff.
I got a question, but I don't know if it really has anything to do, but the other one landlocked piece that's gonna be still to the north of it, is there any rules or anything that states while this is happening, there has to be a right-of-way left for that lot for the future? I believe if y'all are correct about the cemetery, it would be to the east side of that cemetery, right?
Right.
The landlocked piece. So while somebody's gonna be doing this and developing it, is there any kind of rules in place to try to keep that lot from becoming landlocked and just sitting there?
Well, you can't deny anybody access to their property. So they wouldn't be able to put up a giant concrete fence and say they couldn't get in there, but they do not have any responsibility to give them access. So that would be a private matter. If somebody did come and say they wanted to build a house there.
And it's going to remain zoned agriculture. They're not doing anything with that property this time.
It's just a vacant lot right now.
I just talking about for the future.
Right.
Yeah, in the future, if somebody wanted to build a house there, they would have to talk to their neighbors and get access. And they would and the neighbors would have to, in a way, give them access. They couldn't deny them, but that would be a private matter.
Is it even big enough to build on? They would probably have to conjoin it.
Look at page 167. You can get a better picture of it.
I'm almost there. That's about where I live. Oh, I see it now.
So
Oh, yeah.
that landlocked and then the cemetery.
Oh, so the cemetery's on the front piece.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, so you can't drive through the cemetery anyway. And see, I always thought the cemetery was the Willis Cemetery. Must not be if it's owned by Tanners.
No, I think it is the Willis.
It is the
That is the Willis.
But they don't own it. But the Willises don't own it?
That Willis piece they do.
Do what now?
The Willis Cemetery is owned by not the Tanner property.
But the Willises are buried there.
Do what now?
Old man Willis and his wife are buried.
I know that. That's why I'm saying how is it owned by somebody other than the Willises? That's why I was surprised. That's why I asked the question if it was owned by the same owner. By the same property owner.
Well, the Willis Cemetery is out on 27, just to the side of the,
Two of them.
furniture store there.
Badcock Furniture.
Oh, yeah, that's.
There's two of them, Mr. Ross.
Huh?
Two of them. They were brothers, two
Yeah,
different
there's
families.
two of
Yeah, I
them.
know Jesse Willis.
That's the big one, but the little one is down on South Main.
There's two of them, Mr. Ross.
That's Willis there too?
Yep.
I know where it is.
Because I know Doris has talked about it, so I knew that was theirs. That's the only reason I knew it. Huh. Okay, just an interesting tidbit. Nothing
Very
really.
strange, the whole-
It's strange that the Willis Cemetery is there and the Willises don't own it. It's just really kind of odd.
And then
And then the vacant lot is behind it.
Exactly, why didn't one of those
Might have been married to a walk off.
homeowners?
Maybe they were married somewhere in between. Who knows? Not for us to debate at this moment. Okay, so again, where are we? We're debating. Anybody else have any other questions before we go to consider the matter? All right, so we would entertain first reading of ordinance 2022-706. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve first reading ordinance 2022-706.
A second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Do I have any further discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will close the public hearing. And that is our last quasi
Thank
for
you,
the
Council.
evening. Thank you. Stacking us up there now. All right, so we are to item J, which is discussing with possible action repair of Caterpillar skid steer, not to exceed $12,000. Mr. Bishop.
Yes,
Thank y'all
ma'am.
for coming.
Yes, ma'am. The skid steer blew an injector pump.
The
and
skid steer blew up.
It blew an injector pump. Yes, ma'am. It's a
Oh.
3-year-old machine with 182 hours. It has a warranty, but it timed out, not houred out. You're looking at I forget what we paid for. I think $130,000 for it. And it's going to cost. The quotes I'm getting are verbal, so obviously I'm waiting for the physical copies. But right now everything's 11,000 or less. So I went 12 just for a little buffer.
Perfect. And you have it in your budget? You have repairs in your budget? You
No,
don't have to
ma'am.
always ask that question.
No, ma'am. I spoke with Mr. Bloom, and he says there's room in the ARPA contingency.
Okay. You have contingency. He's shaking his head. That's a good sign. We don't have much choice, do we?
No, ma'am.
Happy about it, but yes.
Finding some more contingency. All right, so we would entertain the up to $12,000 expenditure for repair of the Caterpillar skid steer. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve up to $12,000 for the Caterpillar skid steer.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I see clapping in the back corner.
Yay.
Thank you, council.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Discussion with possible action, approval of purchase of, you'll have to help me. Is that really spelled right?
Or is it?
SHI, Microsoft Exchange Online. ON2G, user and Office 365 E3 GCC license. Mr. Brevard, almost called you
So
Chief.
SHI Software House in Action is who they are. So basically, Madam President, and I also will let, anytime anyone wants to chime in, he can. You know, the city of Wilson operates off Microsoft Office. The staff use it every day. You know, we normally budget for this item, every year. If you look on the back, or page 174, you'll notice in the breakdown of the software license for the year that we budgeted $6,000 for Microsoft Windows Office 365, and as you can see from the quote of what we need of $17,028.90,
Whoa.
we way under budgeted that. So this is the government contract, so to speak, in the sense of you can get multiple quotes. None of them are going to get any better than what we got at 246.33 per E3, which is the big one that we all use. The other one, Aaron, correct me if I'm right, is the Exchange Online PIN G2 user is for like emails, right?
I won't correct you, you are right.
Thank you. So, as you can see, we've got several quotes. There's one that's almost double. There's the one that we have from SHI, Software House International, and then there's another one. There's several of them that are online that are basically from $20 to $22 a month. This will increase our number of licenses to how many?
I believe we're adding 15 licenses because we're basically out of licenses. We've added new people and new employees.
So we're out now, but
we're out now. We're down to none left for the Office suite. We do have another set of licenses that are $100 a year per person. No, I'm sorry, it's $100 a month per person. That is just email only. That is the email online only. That's someone like all the board members that get an email to conduct business with. They get access to email, but not Office.
Right. So if you see we're asking for $11,028, we're taking into account the $6,000 that are already in the budget. Had we budgeted properly for this, which would not even be a topic of consideration for the council, but considering we're spending $11,028.90 of money from somewhere.
Yes.
So,
yes.
There we go, Jim.
Poof.
I can go into a little bit of details on that if you want. So, within the IT budget, so there is some contingency in there a little bit. There's a sinking fund. I'll have to forego the sinking fund.
We'll be sinking, all right.
Yes, and then it'll just depend upon where we wind up with the whole department. Keep in mind, the IT department is split out across multiple funds. So in particular, we're talking about licensing, which is on a per person basis, which can be allocated across by per person. So that will be done as well.
Terrific. All right.
So, and to add to that, this is one of those things that we, obviously haven't had a budget, haven't had the department. We've been building this budget, and for the life of us, we have yet to figure out exactly who paid for this originally and how much they paid for it, or how they even paid for it. My belief is that they paid for it on a 3-year term initially, and it was just put on someone's credit card.
Yeah.
We've all, Stephen and the whole crew down there, we've tried to find it, and we haven't. For a year we've looked for it. It's just one of those things that kind of got overlooked and didn't realize it was going to cost this much.
So which vendor do you want us to approve?
SHI is our preferred. That's who we usually have purchased all of our stuff through.
Yeah, they're well known. They're very reputable. That's who we'd recommend.
Okay, so we would entertain a motion for approval of an additional $11,028, if I got my number right, for purchase from SHI. Do we have such a
I
motion?
hear mumbling over there.
He's pushing the button.
Mr. Bloom, this 11,000 that we're.
Hold on, let's see if we can get a motion, then we can have discussion. I'm sorry, hold on one second. I've called for a motion, I'm looking for it.
I move that we approve the purchase of the SHI Microsoft Exchange Online for
$11,028 additional.
that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. It's your turn, Mr. Mayor. Ask your question, please.
Mr. Bloom, I understood you to say that this usage is allocated across multiple places. So this $11,000 would not have to be out of contingencies. You will get it from multiple places
and the council's not adding $11,000 to their budget. Is
No,
that accurate?
absolutely not. Again, in order for the
But
council.
the motion says that.
Well, it's the additional for what they budgeted for this item.
For the purchase, it says it's approval for the purchase of.
Let me get an answer. Go
No,
ahead.
the council would actually have to approve and adopt a budget amendment to add anything to their budget. So no, this is just approving the purchase.
Right.
And the staff is figuring out how to pay for it from their current budget.
That is my question. The motion says they're approving $11,000, and you're saying that they won't need to have $11,000. The motion is not to purchase, it's with $11,000, am I
The
wrong?
motion was $11,000 more than budgeted.
That's not true, that will not be increasing the budget.
The motion didn't say
We can make it up of what we have already.
Correct, yes. I mean, the motion, I'll let you guys work on the wording of it. But from the numbers, which is what I usually rely on, we are not adding anything to the budget. We are
Thank you,
going to be
Mr. Boone.
utilizing already adopted budget money, moving it around, and kind of figuring out how to make this
We
happen.
just added $11,028 to the budget line item. That's what we did,
So in
and
the
that was
future-
the motion that I heard.
So in the future, we gonna split it up amongst the departments?
It's already split up amongst
Yeah.
departments. In the future, this will become part of your base budget. Because this is an annual cost, and what you'll see is, like Aaron says, the IT department is gonna be involved. This is truly like an exception year where we actually have solid numbers. So this is one of those things that, you know, just kind of.
Okay, after that clarification, are we ready?
We already did the motion.
Mr. Mills.
I want to add something that this licensing solely covers the city of Williston, City Hall, and the airport. Does not cover any of the users at the police department or the fire department.
Police and fire, okay.
They are not included in this license, and it's solely because they are utilizing a different version of Office that has been purchased at some point, like a standalone version. I'm not sure how long that'll hold out or how many reuses of licenses they have. So at some point in the future, they may need to be included in this as well. Upwards of maybe 30 or 40, maybe even 50 more licenses, so keep that in mind. This
Okay.
could double or
So we have a motion on the floor.
Some
Is there
point.
for any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item L is Resolution 2022-97, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the 2023 general municipal election dates and process and establishing an effective date. Is it that time again? My goodness.
Yes.
Miss Wright.
Okay, this resolution is to approve the election date of April the 4th, 2023. Also to approve the following seats that will be up for election, which is Group A, Group B, and Group C. Group A, if you want the name, Group A is Mr. Ross. Seat will be up for re-election. Group B is Ms. Marguerite. And Group C is Councilmember Cox. And the qualifying period starts on January the 23rd at noon and ends on Friday, January 27th at noon. So I'm just asking for approval of those dates and seats.
What were the dates again? 23rd?
23rd through the 27th
For qualifier.
for qualifying. And just realize again that we've changed the election date from March to April the 4th.
Thank you for that reminder. All right, so I would entertain a motion for Resolution 2022-97.
I move that we approve Resolution 2022-97.
Second it.
Have a motion and second. Is there any discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item M, Resolution 2022-98, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, establishing authorization of the City Council President to authorize the purchase of 96 DFW 36C water meter boxes and providing an effective date.
Mr. Lee.
I assume I'm not gonna purchase them, I'm just gonna sign the purchase order.
That is correct.
Thank you.
I'm essentially looking for authorization to spend $22,656 for 96 complete water meter boxes. They have all the pieces except for the meter and ERT. This is all the stuff to assemble it, and it is for Country Lane Estates. We're needing to start getting these in for when they start construction, because they're going to be the ones putting the boxes in the ground. And the funds will be coming out of, I believe you said, ARPA, correct?
So, just because you keep hearing this, I want to make sure we're clear on how this is working. So we will be maintaining a tracker. We got both payments from the ARPA, a little bit over $1.2 million, and you keep hearing that. So the staff will have a tracker that they'll be able to maintain and hold up and say, yes, here's where this is. I think there's even a couple more items on here that is coming.
That's why I say we need a little sign that has a post and stick it up.
The way we do this during the budget season is we assign pots of money to different things. We talked about the wells and fire vehicles and different things. There also was a pot of money in there for emergency repairs. That's why you've heard that a couple times. And then a couple other things. So we are going to be making sure we're not spending the same dollar 4 and 5 times.
Yeah.
Just so you know as you're hearing that.
That's good. Pay to spend it once, not 4 or 5 times. Okay, so you see the resolution 2022-98.
Do we get any money from grants on that?
I don't believe so, no, sir. I don't know if we can or not, but.
And the developers didn't pay for any of this either, I'm assuming this is something that the city pays for?
Do we have to pay for our own meters? Somebody tell me about that. I had the same question, Mr. Bullock.
So we were just discussing that.
Yeah.
Although we're paying for them, when the customers brought online, we will get this cost back.
They will pay for the meter as it is
Correct.
put in the ground.
So we need to acquire it to give to them, the developer. When the houses are sold and the customer comes online, they will pay that fee, that initial fee, and that will reimburse us. Now, understanding that the fee that we currently charge is not enough to pay for what we're paying for, but it'll come within so much.
Okay. And we install them as well when they.
So typically the deal that we have is it's a 1-for-1. Yes, we would install them on a new house, but this is a development. So our wise city manager has encouraged developers to do their own work, and that is what's occurring.
Gotcha. So these will already all be installed across that whole subdivision there?
Correct.
Ready to go, okay.
So after the house is built, because if they install them now, as they do construction, they'll run them over, inevitably.
So when they come and open the first account for that new house, that's when they'll pay for the meter.
Correct.
So I have a question
Yes,
briefly, just for the record on our purchasing policy. I see that we have one written bid here. Is this a single source sort of situation?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just for the record.
Thank you for doing the work on that. Okay, so we have, I don't know if we didn't get a motion. So I would entertain a motion. Yeah.
You're gonna ask?
I am. I'm entertaining a motion for 2022-98.
I move that we approve resolution 2022-98.
I second.
I have a motion in 2 seconds. See, that's what happens when we have discussion before I get a motion. I can't hear what's going on. I'll lose my place. All right, any discussion on the 96 water meters? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, council.
All right, we're making it to the bottom of the page. In Resolution 2022-99, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, authorizing the purchase of a pole trailer from Ring Power Equipment in accordance with quote number 17623562216, authorizing the City Council, I guess that says President and City Manager to execute any documents necessary to facilitate said purchase, and providing an effective date. Mr. City Manager Brevard.
Thank you once again, Madam President. So a pole trailer. So a pole trailer is basically a trailer used to move, and Mr. Miller could jump in here anytime, to move poles in and out throughout the city to have them replaced. So we have two pole trailers. One's currently the one that you see there that I also provided you pictures with.
Growing grass.
It's growing grass and
yes.
quite rusty.
Yes, it's in pretty bad shape. The other one was, much to, I believe, Mr. Bishop's credit, was a hand-built one that basically is also in unsafe condition, that has, my understanding, no brakes, has been bent, and we've unbent it and tried to fix it, and so we're lacking the ability to move not telephones. I apologize. Power poles throughout the city, and basically, you know, we have actually saved some money on the squirt truck. Originally, you know, we had budgeted, you know, for the $250,000 for the squirt truck, and that's coming in under budget. You know, we realized that we need this pole trailer basically to really do our job throughout the city. We can't. The utility guys can't do their job without an effective way to move a pole. And so basically, the smaller ones they can move on the truck, which really is safe, but it really needs to be on a pole trailer or something designed to do that. With that, we were asking, you know, for you to give us the authority to purchase a pole trailer. I gave you 3 quotes, I believe. Those quotes range anywhere from, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, I think the first one, Ring Power, is 20.
I believe it's 25 to 40.
Yeah, there's.
I don't think they're in our packet.
They're not? You don't have all 3?
No, I don't think we have any of them.
But we saved
You have them. So I have basically Mr. Miller spec'd them out. The one from Ring Power is $22,877. The other one from Sabre Manufacturing came in the price at $43,662. The third one, which is from Global Rental Company, and it's a manufacturer, not a rental, came in at $25,800. Our recommendation is, and I could give you these if you'd like to look at them, but our recommendation is that we go with the Ring Power pole trailer, but even getting it the approval tonight, we will receive this in a year?
Yeah, I believe it was 50 weeks.
So they're pretty much made to order.
Somebody locally can't build one? No?
No.
I mean, we have fabricators around here. You'd think they could build one less time than that.
They're pretty special, and to be honest with you,
Holy cow.
because of the way they're designed, what we ran into was, and we tried even borrowing them, we tried renting them. You know, there's a lot, we stopped short at maybe even borrowing one without asking, but nobody wants to loan you one because of the liability and risk involved in them. Then they're willing to, like, as an example, Ocala, who's a great partner, is willing to provide us with 2 people, a truck, a pole trailer, and we'd be more than happy to charge us to come out and do this work for us, but will not give us any of the material. Neither will GRU or anybody else.
The liability for moving those things on this, it is not transferable. It's your truck, it's your liability.
There's no used ones out there? Decent used ones?
No.
The used ones out there are 3/4, 80% price. And
Yes, sir, we do. We have it. We.
Another one that's sinking fun.
So.
Stinking fun.
It's sinking fast, boy.
The budget has $250,000 already in the electric department.
Right.
And so that is for the vehicle. So they're only gonna use $225 for the squirt truck, and then the remaining $25 is for this. So it's all within the budget.
So it's washed in that.
It is, but you know, to your point, this is coming, it was budgeted to come out of cash reserves. So it would just be the same. So there'd be no changes, just be changing the allocation of that line.
But it is more, and we are asking for, $22,000, just above that, so we can move poles around. And they are very specific items.
I just hate that you have to wait so long for it.
Yeah.
Can some of the lockers move things for us?
Well, I will tell you this, that we've been laboring with the idea of how to move those around. We had Eddie Hodge from Williston Timber has graciously offered to move poles for us to finish the Airport Williston Community Animal Shelter property.
I was just thinking, does this mean 50 more months before the animal shelter
I
can
hope
get power?
not, Mr. Mayor.
However, there are a unique problem of how to get them on and off the pole, the trailer. Timber trees are basically trees and then they're poles, but we will work it out and get it done. And Williston Timbers graciously said, give us 2 or 3 days notice, and they would be more than happy to move whatever poles we need out there so we can get our job done.
For that specific.
Just for this.
Just for that.
Yes, sir.
I love
Just
it.
for that.
Just for that. So, other than that, we really do need a pole trailer. There isn't any city utility company anywhere that does not have a pole trailer that they can do their job.
Williston.
Okay. I'm asking for a motion for resolution 2022-99 to purchase a pole trailer from Ring Power in the amount of $22,877 with the surplus from the squirt truck.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2022-99.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And I apologize, I thought y'all had the quotes. That's my bad. So,
You probably got them at the last minute after the agenda had already been sent out. Okay, item O.
no, that one was mine.
O, discussion with possible action, review of Terry Bavard's contract, appointing Terry Bavard as the city manager. Okay, I think it's high time we made this interim person our city manager. I don't see any reason to continue it the way we're doing. And you have before you a contract, an agreement, should I say, an agreement that he and I have looked at and agreed to, and that's been in your packet, that I would put before you and ask if you have any questions for either one of us.
Should it be in any one of these resolutions what the salary is there?
It is in the agreement.
Okay.
I see, lovely Miss Baloo down there.
It says in the resolution of manager agreement.
Right.
Just for the record, legal has also reviewed this contract.
Do what now?
Legal has also reviewed the contract.
Thank you very much. I didn't know if you had time to do that since we did it so quickly. That was why your agenda was late. I was trying really hard to get this on your agenda because I was trying to get it done before the first of the year. Any questions? I can tell you that there were only 2 areas that I had questions, and I discussed those with him, and we are there. And you will see it's pretty much the same as the ones we've had very recently.
Right, except for the vehicle. The vehicle, before it was a vehicle of allowance.
Right.
This is the late model which you are driving at this time.
He's not driving a late model. He's driving an old as the hills car.
The real late model.
We took the late model back.
Yeah, they took the late model back. So we'll discuss, we'll work on the vehicle as we go. But it does say late model. I'd like to have something a little newer for him. Late as in early, as in newer. Late as in new, as not late as in old.
We have not provided a vehicle before.
We did for Mr. Holloway. It's been a while, and Mr. Coleman also drove that vehicle. And that vehicle ended up with the fire department, and I think it's probably gone with the wind by now.
Can you get it back?
No, it's probably long. It's not late model, I can tell you. If you think back how we bought if you'll remember, I think it was a red Explorer, if I remember right. Yeah, and it went from Mr. Holloway to Mr. Coleman, and from Mr. Coleman to the fire department.
So does
And
that
ever
mean-
since then, we've paid an allowance.
Does that mean I get the other car back?
Yeah, if we buy another one, we need a crew car for the city hall, so maybe.
Oh, okay.
I'm growing fond of my Impala.
However, do we have that budgeted to buy a vehicle?
We don't, and it doesn't say we're gonna buy one. It just says that we'll try to supply him a late model vehicle. And we'll kind of work on that between now and then.
Along with that whole.
And again, late model means new, not old.
Along with that.
Late model means, not too old.
City manager, are you able to drive a full truck?
A full truck?
Evidently
I
not.
could.
We could combine the two.
There you go.
Apparently you have to have certain kind of license, so probably not. They don't let me drive anything.
I can imagine.
My truck can get it in.
I don't think the car is gonna become an issue. Obviously, there's been some discussion about the car. I would never let the city buy me a vehicle that would impact anybody else in the city, period.
And he said that to me 3 or 4 times already, so.
Would never happen.
We can pick him
I
up.
need some equipment.
Except for the police department.
Your budget is separate.
You getting ready to get some equipment back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hand over one of those black Tahoes, we'll be in good shape.
Hey.
Yeah, so just hold your horses there.
That's what I gotta get equipment for.
All right, so look at section 3, that's where the compensation is. There's also a section that talks about the pension, which is the retirement benefit. Those were the 2 areas that he and I talked the most about. The vehicle was a change from what we had previously because I think we did a $350 car allowance before.
Right.
So we could very easily buy a vehicle for less than $350 a month.
Where?
One of those electric.
At Donald's car lot.
I can buy one like Deluca Toyota for like $100 a month.
Oh, never.
Those electric.
We could definitely get a good car for $350 a month.
Goodness gracious.
Anybody want yours?
I got a Ninja.
Late model, not old model.
Really old.
Like Wisconsin has within a year and a half.
Oh, you have to go to Chief LaChrysler Dodge Jeep and buy yourself one that's 0% interest.
Okay.
All right, so here we are. Any questions about the contract?
What's the salary? I didn't.
Oh, the salary. The salary,
80,000.
I'm right up here, 80,000.
$159.
Thank you, I have to go back, 159, 80,159.
A 1-year contract?
It's 4 years, actually.
Every 2 weeks.
Give or take.
For the record, the back quarter is giggly. They enjoyed that. All right, any questions? Let's hear them if you need to. This is your chance.
Just ask for a vote.
I'm going to, but people are still looking at it. I can see them still scrolling through it. The main areas are those 2.
I read it and I compared it with others and y'all did a good job.
Thank you very much. All right. Yes, I'm ready.
I make a recommendation to approve resolution 2022-100 as stated.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion on the city manager's agreement? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Congratulations. We're very lucky to have you. And I want you to know it's only 9:15, y'all. I thought we'd be here till at least 10 o'clock.
They ain't over yet.
Item number 8 is public participation. Anyone have anything for this agenda at this time?
I do.
Oh, okay, Ms. Robinson.
After the November council meeting, I was asked by a few citizens if I knew of or any other council members knew of the charges that Mr. Goodman made on his credit card, or if the president was the only council member to know of this, and why. I did know because I am a check signer. Excuse me. And honestly, I do not know if the other counselors knew prior to the August meeting when Mr. Goodman put it on the agenda the first time, because we cannot discuss matters except at a council meeting. And that was the whole issue. I want to know if we had discussed it. The matters were scheduled on an agenda, however, the matter was taken care of and dropped, and I will explain. First, I would like to apologize to President Jones because she took some of the heat at the November meeting and I said nothing. The credit card charges were brought to my attention by City Clerk Wright in June. The charges started in April. I was astonished, to say the least. Gas charges and one charge at Walgreens for glasses. Total credit card charges for over $600 to $700 in a little over a month, beginning the week after Mr. Goodman was given the credit card. I consider this taking what does not belong to you or taking city funds. I asked Mrs. Wright not to approve any further charges until investigated, at which time she told me the president was aware and investigating, and Ms. Latricia was instructed the same by the president, not to approve any further charges made by Mr. Goodman. Mr. Goodman called me to meet him at the animal shelter. He wanted to discuss something. I did, and he was upset about the letter he received from President Jones explaining why and requesting the city to be paid back, and he gave me a copy of that letter. He said the shelter belonged to the city and he was doing the city a favor. I told Mr. Goodman I would not comment to him at that time until I checked out all the minutes and facts about the shelter. I did investigate, and what I thought was true was the animal shelter belonged to the committee until completed, and a CO is established, at which time the city will take over ownership and is run as intended. The city donated $75,000 towards the construction, and the committee was going to have fundraisers, etc., to raise the remainder as agreed. The committee was having problems getting the animal shelter constructed and came to the council meeting for discussion, came to the council. Mr. Goodman came to the meeting along with the committee. At that time, raised his hand and volunteered his services and expertise on the construction to supervise. As I have been raised to believe, if you volunteer, that is exactly what it is. You are giving yourself and your time, and if you give monetarily, that is up to you. Mr. Goodman put it on the August agenda to discuss the matter of the credit card charges. That was dropped because Mr. Goodman, the president, our attorneys discussed just prior to the meeting, and Mr. Goodman agreed and paid and relinquished the credit card given to him. I thought his actions of admission he was doing was wrong and misused city funds, thinking the matter was taken care of until Mr. Goodman had put it on the agenda again in November to discuss again, at which time he was not happy with the president and the way she handled the situation. I don't know of how else and more discreetly she could have handled his actions. At the November meeting, Mr. Goodman stated and wanted to set the record straight by his account. He said in part that he was not instructed on how to use a credit card, which I found a little bizarre. He also started to quote the charter but fell short. The actual charter, section 2.04, compensation expenses, the last line reads as, "The mayor shall receive his actual and necessary expenses in the performance of his duties." The animal shelter is not the duties of the mayor. At this point, the animal shelter was being constructed by a volunteering citizen, not the mayor. Mr. Goodman was on the council for approximately 7 to 8 years before he resigned, and part of that time as council president. And he admitted and stated he did not know how to use a credit city card. I know you do not use someone else's credit card for your own use. By the way, if we do go out of the area to perform city duties, we use expense reports. We get reimbursed mileage for the city duties, not by filling tanks. If he did not know, he should have asked prior to starting charging his gas. I have only used the city expense report once or twice, and that was to go to Tallahassee for legislative days. Again, and Madam President, I am sorry for not stating the facts as I knew them. Thank you.
Okay, anything else in public participation or announcements?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm seeing Ms. Jones first.
I just wanted to remind everybody that we have Movie in the Park at Cornelius Williams, Saturday, December 17th. It's actually going to start at 5 because they have some events for the children before the movie starts. So it's all free popcorn. Just bring your blankets and your chairs. And we will be at the Christmas party.
Chief Rose.
Ho, 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 Santa's coming to town, December 15th, 5 p.m.
Say that again.
I gave y'all a flyer. So December 15th, 5 p.m., the route which Santa will be traveling will be posted at a later date. I have tickets for the Kirby Farm Christmas train if anybody's interested or would like to attend this event with your family or friends. Ike Christmas party was a success, approximately 100 kids. Captain Fordney, Brooke, and myself cooked hot dogs and gave out pizza to the kids, and they absolutely enjoyed it. Update on the USDA grant. I'm talking fast because I'm ready to get out of here. I got home at 3:30 this morning from the football game. I'm ready to go to bed. Update on the USDA grant. We were able to purchase 2 2023 Tahoes. Woo-hoo! After a long, lengthy search trying to find vehicles, if you're looking for a vehicle, I can tell you it is hard.
Our city manager needs one.
It's hard to find vehicles. So we were able to get our hands on 2. We picked them up. They're at the PD if anybody want to take a look at them. We're working on getting price quotes to get the vehicles outfitted and to get them out in the community. So stay tuned. I've already talked to Stephen a little bit about funds available to outfit those vehicles, and I should have those quotes next meeting. And yeah, he's glad he came. All right, update on the JAG grant. Aaron has received almost all of the security equipment ordered under this grant for the security of the police and fire department. The last item I think Aaron is waiting on is the electronic door locks. Is that correct, Aaron? And we will be in fulfill that grant. So I have started working on the donated in-car. Aaron has started working on the donated in-car computers. Hopefully sometime soon we will see them in the vehicles. They won't be completely connected to our system, but they will be used as a way that the officers can fill out forms and print them instead of standing out on the side of the road trying to hold a flashlight, a clipboard, a pen, and watch the person they're dealing with, as well as watching traffic coming by. This process of putting these computers in the car should make that a little bit easier and a lot more safer for the officers. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. Mr. Barber.
Hannah and I just wanted to thank everybody for their thoughts and prayers and kind wishes. And Mom and William Wallace is doing really well. And so we just really appreciate the cards and the comments. And she's not looking forward to the 19th. So
When you come back to work.
When I come back to work. But anyways, thank you.
It won't be here soon enough for us. We've missed you. Anybody else?
Yes.
Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller first.
I just want to let you know that we finally got the new lights in for around City Hall, so you will be seeing us changing the color of lights. And
Perfect. And these were the ones that were recalled before we got them up the first time. We got the new ones. Thank you very much. We were talking about those just the other night. Ms. Wright.
Just a reminder, city Christmas party, December the 17th at the Williston Crossing at 6 p.m. And that's And also I want to thank everyone that helped with the hot cocoa Saturday night, and the guy, and the guys that helped put up the tents and everything. I appreciate you all very much. And the ones
And
that,
the parade was wonderful. The lights look absolutely gorgeous. I've had people in town tell me it looks like Disney World. They love the blue poles. They love the white and the blue and the colored trees. So thank you, Mr. Ross.
I'd like to suggest that next year it start at 5:30.
You mean the parade?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a little bit of light left to see what's going on.
Yeah.
When you wait for 6 and then crank around to 6:30, it's dark. You can't tell what anything is.
Yeah, they want to see the lights in the dark for the parade. We need to put some lights in the park. That's what I heard. People are walking around in the park and they can't see because there's no light.
Getting to the.
So somehow we've got to put light on the sidewalk. Somebody suggested running lights down the side of the sidewalk so you could see them, but that would take a lot of light. So, Mr. Miller.
I plan on this after we get through this one, I'm gonna run the wire all the way around and actually have it in the ground, so by the 10th, there will be power available.
Perfect. I know one vendor who had hot chocolate who didn't bring his hot chocolate warm. They had chocolate milk that they were trying to heat up and they didn't have power until the lights went on.
They had nothing.
So they had nothing but cold chocolate milk.
So, since we're speaking of lights.
Which wasn't bad, actually.
Could we not have it to where like the lights on top of the poles are lit, and then right before they go to light up Williston, kill those lights out, and then kick on the Christmas lights? That'll give people
Probably not that easy. They're probably all on the same circuit.
Yeah, they're all in the same photo eye. We can't do that, but we can talk about more light towers. We can talk about accent lights.
Yeah. I know I parked all the way at the other side of the gazebo, and I walked all the way to the rebellion in the dark. And there were a lot of people that, obviously I parked all the way down there, not because I wanted to, but because there were cars. So all those people walked in the dark. So thank you for the sand that you put on the side of the sidewalk. That made a lot of difference. It kept people from falling off in the dark. And I, for one, want to talk to the chamber about making the program a little more structured. The lights were on before I even knew they were getting ready to do it.
There was no countdown or anything.
Yeah, there was no countdown.
no countdown.
And usually we have singing. We had a DJ.
There was a countdown.
The speakers were.
We were
The speakers on
Ms.
I was
Deborah.
standing right there and I never heard it. Who
There-
said
Yeah,
that?
you couldn't hear it, but Mr. Cox has an idea.
He does? Okay, let's hear it.
Yep, I've got a couple companies that I'm gonna call who deals professionally with speakers to see what Bluetooth speakers would be that we could put up down the park so everybody could hear it. You could pipe music and things like that. But I can promise you, they're not gonna be $100 speaker.
I started to say, don't get too carried away. We do have some residences in that area.
have to talk to Mr. Bloom.
Sinking fund.
Yeah.
Sinking fund, who said that?
The only problem you have with Bluetooth is the range. You don't have a very long range. You got microphones that suck.
Did you put that on record?
And I want to thank all of the law enforcement agencies that
Oh, yeah.
showed up to help us out. It's just great to see the unity. We're going to Ocala this Saturday to help them out because they came over and helped us out. So
Perfect.
absolutely wonderful to see the partnership between the different agencies.
They
So
help us all the
The
time.
chamber did a great job with the parade, with the light, with everything.
And yes, y'all have to remember that the parade and the Light of Williston are not ours. People kept telling me all this stuff, and I said, it's not a city event, it's a chamber event.
And poor Mr. Mark Pompeo, who was a marshal, was kind of squished in between. You didn't even realize he was there.
Just a FYI, the city gave away 466 cups of hot cocoa and a total of 460 bags of cookies.
Cool. Miss Baloo, I got cookies and hot chocolate.
This is a reminder that not tomorrow, but the following Wednesday, December 14th, from 4 to 8 p.m. is our ethics training. I know that a lot of people have RSVP'd. It's going to be really fun. There'll be refreshments, there'll be food, there'll be information.
What's the food?
What's the food? Who said that? Jonathan is in here.
I'll let Mr. Cox tell you how good the food was last year.
It was good.
There was food everywhere, every kind you can imagine.
That's what I hear. So we try to up ourselves every year. So come, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
Look at there.
And the only thing I have to add is on Thursday and Friday, I will be at FMIT board, at a FMIT board meeting, this time in Tampa. I go back and forth from place to place. And that's the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust that we are a member of. Their board meeting is actually Friday morning, so I'm going down Thursday night because it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And they cover all those expenses. The city doesn't have any. All right. Anything else for this agenda? Wayne? No?
Just possibility.
Mr. Cox?
Seeing them, which love seeing across the street, seeing all the progress that's being made and everything there. Any way possible for them to put an awning over these doors at the front of City Hall. Because when the one hurricane, Paul put sandbags out there, but there was water coming in at
Every
the bottom.
hurricane it does that.
But it would be just, suggestion of putting an awning off the top.
Ms. Latricia.
To answer your question, Terry and I have a call tomorrow with Matt Marino with Ulrich about that awning.
I would want it to be brown or a color that matched the city hall and not white necessarily.
Remember that, Terry.
Look at Steven. Steven's like that sinking fund.
It's just a discussion to see what the prices will be.
Yeah, that every hurricane we've had, the water on the front half of the building, the rain comes straight under the doors.
and windows to leak.
I'm just saying back them, they go out the back door. Every time.
I'd be calling somebody's butt.
Yeah. All right, anything further for this agenda? Got a lot coming up the next week or two. I hope y'all have a wonderful Merry Christmas. I won't see you before then. And we'll see you next year. Bye. We will adjourn. I'll have a motion if you will give me one. I have a motion and a second for adjournment. All in favor say aye. Aye. We will adjourn at 9:30.